Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Gibson Show. And today, our guest is the one and only Savage from Team Secret. Savage, welcome in, and how are you doing?
Hello. Doing good. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good, thanks. It's good to finally get this one going. We've been trying to schedule this for about 3 weeks, and the calendars just didn't quite work out to now. So, I suppose, what can we say? You're just after your first couple of stages playing in Tier 1 after joining from Tenstar, and in 2 weeks' time, you've got the chance to play for a spot at SI. How are you feeling right now and about how that kind of year has gone for you?
I could have never expected this, before. Even when I was just underage, I never really thought I would even make it to year one, and now being here and fighting for a spot in the biggest tournaments in Siege is it's a blessing, to be honest. Really exciting, and it's like something kind of, we've got something to prove, in this qual. So really hope we can play well, even if we don't win. It just shows that we are a good team, because we know we are, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think if you look at the four teams going into SI quals, every single team has its own little storyline and its own thing to prove. Obviously, you've got X Empire looking to go back after they were split up over the course of the year. You've got Navi coming in with, almost a brand new roster than what started the year. Secret, you guys are the exact same. You just have something to prove. And then you've got Makers, who have been playing really well lately. They've got SI experience, even though they're playing in Tier 2. I think that closed quals are going to be pretty exciting.
Yeah. Just like Jake said, I don't think there is any team you should sleep on. Literally any team could win these quals, 100%. Like you said, X Empire, they last year were in the grand final. So MKers, they've been through these quals. They know what's. So have X Empire. They also been through these quals. So they also qualified through the quals once.
Yeah.
And Navi, experienced players and new players too. They've got to prove. So like me.
Yeah. So let's rewind and we'll talk a little bit about the start of the year. So I got into casting about a year and a half ago, and it was in and around the time of You Can Rumble, and I got to see you taking part with that Tenstar team. You just went on, you won that, you had your first stage at You Can 2, you won that as well. First off, what is it about Tenstar that seems to be so good for nurturing talents? Nearly every single member of that original roster now has gone on to Tier 1. Why is there what is the secret sauce with Tenstar? How have you guys all improved so much and managed to move on?
Not really though. I think the biggest part is the core roster. Kangaroo, Kenny as a coach, Azar and leader. These if you got that as a basis, the rest's probably gonna be easier. And when you got that good basis, you're always gonna attract good players, and I think we always had good eye for up-and-coming players. For example, when me and Jax got in, obviously I got in because I was friends with Booms, and at the time I was just turning 18, so they kind of got me under their wing and just took me in. And I had played with Jax, so it was kind of, a suggestion from me, but also the people who just gone. I think he turned 18 very recently, I think, as well,
Yeah.
when I joined. And, from then on, like I said, with good bases, you're always going to attract good players. I think that's pretty much it.
And what's the atmosphere like in Tenstar? Because I think when you look at Tier 3 and teams that want to progress and players that really want to make the step to the next level, you have to have a really good work ethic. You're now playing under a very good coach in Secret, under Marlon Twister, and you've had Kenny, who a lot of people rate highly. Was there a real elite mentality on Tenstar when it came to practice, when it came to VOD reviews and scrims? Were they practicing as if they were a Tier 1 team already?
I mean, I can't speak for the rest of the teams, but I can say, obviously, for sure, we took it as serious as any other Tier 1 team. I think that's the thing for EU teams in general. I feel like a lot of people don't take practice that serious, or they focus on the wrong thing, It's kind of they'll win a round by peeking or playing aggressive, and it's just okay, you won the round, but did you really get anything from it? I definitely think in Tenstar we did a good job with that, just knowing what's what we really are there for. I think like just having the same objective as well all together of, winning CL and going through CL together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was ever about, oh, I want to play well individually so I get picked up. It just happened to happen that we got picked up. But, I think you can't really think, oh, I want to play well in this team so I get picked up. You need to be thinking that you want to do well.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably harder now because there's no EUL spot, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume the motivation might not be there sometimes, but I feel like if you just focus on the collective rather than the individual, you always do much better.
Yeah, 100%. It is the sum of all the parts. That's how you get some success. So you moved to Secret then, and it all kind of to everyone else. It seems like it moved very fast. You went from playing on the team to going to tier 1 already. Talk me through the whole process of, first off, how did you have many teams approaching you, and then when you were trialing for Secret, what was it about that team that made you say, yeah, they're the team I want to play for. I can see a future with them.
Well, I don't know how much I can say, but I'll say it because, anyways, I had the two EUL trials. The time I joined for Secret, one was Navi, and one was Secrets. And Navi at the time they were more focused on another player, which they thought they would have already picked up. And then at last minute they kind of tried to look for other players because their main focus didn't go as planned. And at the time I was already screamed much more with Secret. I had obviously I've screamed for maybe 3 weeks with them. With Navi I had maybe 1-2 screams, and it was kind of an easy choice for me because I didn't really know what I was going into for Navi, and I was liking the atmosphere in Secret, to be honest. At the time I had players that I looked up to and I could see potential in it. So Navi but it was more certain for sure that I would have got in Secret than Navi was. So I just made my choice early, and no regrets.
So if you end up playing Navi in close quals, it's going to be a bit of a fun game for you because you've obviously had the fact that that's a team that trialed you, but not only that, you have 2 of your friends and ex-teammates that are going to be playing for them as well, and Leader and Jegs. Is that
It'll be a fun game.
Is that a matchup do you want that matchup to happen? If that was the final, if that was the final game for the closed quals, would that be the dream scenario?
I mean, I guess for the storyline, probably, but for me, it doesn't really matter. I just want to. I'm not really thinking about other teams or the storyline. I just want to make it whoever I play. I don't really mind, but I think for people and storyline wise, it's probably interesting final.
So talking then about the jump up to tier 1 and moving into EUL, how different was the standard when you first stepped in? And did it take much time to adjust to maybe the pacing of the game? Maybe it was a little bit different, the intensity maybe of training and scrims. How has the transition to tier 1 been?
When I was still playing tier 3, I was still going to school. So when I changed, I didn't have school anymore, and so it was kind of the balance. In one side I was training less, but more school work and stuff, and that one I didn't have school, but I was training way more. So we kind of balanced each other. I didn't really felt anything because even when I was underage, I was spending summers, just playing the game 8 hours, 10 hours a day, So I'm used to that. But what really the really big difference for me was the pressure. EUL is completely different. From EUL to UK or anything, completely different. To know exactly what makes it so different, but for me, it's its own beast. If that makes sense. I don't know, but I don't know. I think I adapted myself well. Second stage now, going to the third, and hoping for a better year now. But I don't know, not much more than that.
Yeah, well, look, I think a lot of people, especially in and around the UCAN scene, want to see you do really well because you're part of that roster. You've gone up. I think you have solidified yourself as a tier 1 player, and we definitely want to see you continue to improve and grow over 2023. So I want to talk about then Secret itself. You've joined the team now. It's changed how it looks since you've joined. You know, they've made a couple of pickups. Astro and Gruby have joined since you joined, but Sleben and Kendrew, they were the kind of the two players that were there before you joined. And Kendrew, I think, is a player a lot of people look up to, vastly experienced. He's played in lots of tournaments. Sleben, the same. What have they been like to play with? Have you learned much from them? Like, what are those two like as leaders?
I'll speak individually of each other. Like Sleben, like is like the best teammate you can have. Like really positive, always calm, always good to take criticism, and like unreal. Like when it comes to mechanical skills, you know, he's not really a show like a player that will show because, like, you know, he's not really active on social media, YouTube or any of that, so you can't really see much besides the games. But like incredible, you know, really slept on. And Kenjo, like really good leader, really good IGL, like his shot calling, like, you know, when on the last executes, like on the last minute of the round for execute phase and stuff, like unreal. Obviously, the experience that he has, like being the only player that's has ever won any relatively, you know, big tournaments. You know, it's really amazing to start off with such a good players. You know, my career, because I didn't have much time on tier 3. I played for 6 months, and then coming off and already being able to play with such good players is really a blessing.
It's not bad. 6 months at tier 3, and then all of a sudden you're playing tier 1. I know there's a lot of players who'd love to do the same. And then shortly after you joined, or around the time you joined, Twister got announced as the coach. So Marlon, he had coached in LATAM for a long time. He's taken many teams to international tournaments. What's it been like working for him? Because I'm sure it definitely helps as well, having a coach that speaks your same native language.
Yeah, obviously when it comes to getting along with the part of the language is definitely, you know, a plus. It's much easier. But like Twister Marlon is incredible. Like not only strat-wise, like the strategic part of the game, but like the mental part of the game and the experience and the way, like, you know, he's coached every type of player, old players, new players, you know. So he's been through all the emotions, you know, all the stuff that we are going through. So it's like, you know, he just knows how to deal with us and how to deal with our situations, and helps us much more, you know. And just really understanding guy, really nice guy, you know. Even outside of scrims, it's always good to be around him, you know. Really fun guy, just really good. Can't complain at all.
Yeah, I've spoke to him a few times and spent some time with him, and I can see where you're coming from, and he's very personable as well. You know, like you said, he likes to talk about things outside of Siege as well. He likes to get to know the people he's working with. And as I said, that success that he's had in getting teams to international tournaments in the past is definitely something that you guys will be, you know, hoping to rely on going into these close quals. But the main thing is it's in your own hands. It's in your own destiny. We were talking about this before. You didn't necessarily have the best stage 3, but you're going into January. You've got the chance to win, and it is in your hands. All you got to do is beat what's in front of you. It has kind of had having the team together now for a couple of months, and the fact that you see now some of the other rosters have made some changes in the last, you know, couple of weeks. Do you think that gives you a bit of an advantage that you have that head start of chemistry built in already?
I'd say it's like it works both ways, you know. I think a team being together, for example, like just like we have been for a while now and had time to practice, or like X Empire is really good. But also a team like Navi that just had, you know, new blood. I mean, it can be really motivating for the players, I feel like. Just having like a different change and like changing around positions and stuff. I think it can work both ways. I think it can be good and bad, but definitely, you know, like just building up chemistry, synergy, little plays. Like Siege is all about right now adaptation and then little plays together, you know. And you can only get that with time playing together.
So then, if we're looking at what comes next and the fact that you have those big games coming up, how strong of a position do you think you're in? Like, do you guys feel that, you know, you're one of the top 2 going into this, or do you think it really is up for grabs for any of the 4 teams?
I mean, personally, you know, I always believe you gotta believe that you are going into a game, going to win it. So I obviously think that I'm going to win the qualifier, you know, but obviously not not with arrogance, confidence, but without arrogance,
Yeah.
I obviously know any team is good and any team can win the game, and it's Siege at the end of the day, whoever is playing best Siege in the day can win, can sometimes just know your day. But I do believe we have a really good chance to make it, and just gotta keep putting the work in like we have, and the rest he will do his own job.
Yes, so then let's step away now from Secret and we'll step away from SI. And it's a question I've been asking all of the interviewees I've had on, and it was around the idea of a Siege World Cup coming back or even a Siege Euros, and you'd obviously be playing for Team Portugal. If you were to build Team Portugal right now, and you can pick from retired players or even players that are still playing currently, who would you have as your best 5 from your lovely part of the world?
Retired, that changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Because we had the players like Flexi before that was really, really impactful, really good. It's like Flexi, if he kept playing the game, I'm sure besides his mental, he would have definitely make tier 1. I'll always put myself there. I'll put Swaz because he's still active, obviously. I'll put Flexi in. I'll put Nubai. And I don't know, because there's a few players that live in Portugal, but I don't know if they would consider themselves Portuguese, But if they wanted to play for Portugal, I'd say Tanda because he lived in Portugal, so I'd have that.
And then you've got Upor coming through as well in the tier 3 scene. He's had some good moments as well. So I think for Portugal starting to look up, there is some talent coming through as it stands. So next question. You've had your season or two in tier 1. Who's the one player that you just hate playing against? What's that one player that always seems to kill you whenever you get into matchups, or you just find them really frustrating in gunfights?
I would say I'm gonna give 2, because I would say player, not gunfight wise, but he's just we make this joke. It's like he has a sixth sense. He just smells you whenever you're coming. You can't rat around like fuck, and that's the problem because you can't rat around him, and he also has really good mechanics. So it makes it so hard to play against him. And I'll say mechanics, maybe Spoit or Jum. Jum is really annoying playing against. I don't know. The guy is just really good, and Spoit obviously it's just Spoit. But I wouldn't say I have Spoit has incredible mechanics. But I wouldn't say I had a hard time in the past playing against him. So I would say Jum, because Jum's it's really, I don't know. The guy is incredible.
Yeah, he had a pretty good major as well. Did Jum at stage? He really popped off and put up some numbers in the kill feed. So then we spoke about the player that you hate playing against. Who's the one player that you love going against? Whose number do you have? Who's that one player you're yep, I've killed him again. There we go. It's easy back pocket.
Play against to know, that's a hard question. I don't know if I can think of anyone, and if I did, that would be a bit harsh to say. But do I really have to say one?
Go on. If you really don't want to, you don't have to. But it always is fun to kind of get someone's mindset as to who they like playing.
It's it doesn't anyone come really to mind, to be honest. Tier 1, unlike people say, EUL is really every team is head to head. No, there is no team that is really worse than another. But I honestly, no one comes to mind. Honestly, not even trying to be humble. Just there's no one specific person I would say, oh yeah, that I like to play against him because it's just 3v central.
Okay, I'm sure we'll get some people to give us some names over the next few weeks as well. But I suppose next one is obviously whenever you're playing a tier 1, Siege is a really big commitment. You're practicing, you're doing VOD reviews, you're preparing. In the last couple of years, we've seen players spending more time focusing on, their mental health and sleeping well, eating well, doing all these things to give themselves the best opportunity to succeed. With that, what do you actually do in your downtime to decompress? Because Siege is a very stressful environment to be in sometimes.
I'll be honest, I'm not really a person of many hobbies, but like even though like it's maybe a default answer, like going to the gym, like it really helps me. Honestly, like mental wise, or just just feeling better about myself, like body wise and stuff. Just definitely helps in game. And one thing that helps me mentally as well. I'm not doing as much maybe now, but I used to, especially when like Teresa when first Johnny introduced me to it and the team into it, is mindfulness. Like just 5-10 minutes a day. Like I would definitely recommend anyone to do it if you wanna improve. Like just like the 5-10 minutes of just clear mind and just really helps for the rest of the day. Just for stressful situations or situations that you're not so comfortable in. Like definitely mindfulness.
Yeah, that's a good one. I think the thing is, I've spoke to a lot of players, and every player's got their own different thing. Some players like to spend time with their friends, some play other games, some like to go to the gym. I think it is important that you do have something that is away from Siege to decompress, because if you play it all the time, it'd feel more like a job than a hobby. And at the end of the day, you're working the dream job. Like the amount of people who would love to play games as a career, it's incredible. So next up is players in EUL, or players even globally. Is there anyone out there that you would love to play with? Say for example, a couple of years down the line, there's a new roster being built. Is there any player in Global Siege right now that you've never teamed with that you would love to play with?
There's a couple definitely, but I think I would go to my Portuguese parts. So like a Brazilian player, definitely like a player like Casey. Like everyone would like to team up with. But I would say Volps. From the stuff that I've watched from him when it comes to comms, because Brazil does a lot of that. They do like even in game comms, like during the game, they just will go into the team speak. Like he does seem to do like a really good job. And then obviously when it comes to the mechanical part, he's just been, I think he got nominated for Player of the Revelation of the Year in Brazil. Like just unreal. So I would say Volps.
Yeah, love it. So then, to wrap up, last couple of quick fire questions is anything you want to say to Secret fans ahead of the closed qualifiers? Like anything you want to say?
I don't know if there is many, but like for the ones that is, like you really have to be a real one, So like definitely appreciate the support. We definitely have been going through some tough times, But hopefully we can, most importantly, stick together as a roster, because we haven't been able to, and we'll try to do our best to qualify.
Sounds good. And last but not least, you're a player who's had a rapid rise. In the space of 6 months, you went from tier 3 to tier 1. Any advice you would give to any other players that are in that tier with 3 structure, or just about to step up into it, on how to progress your career?
Like I said, mindfulness definitely like is something that you want to start as early as possible. But like I believe all like a lot of it comes to work ethic. If you put the work in, like if you keep believing it and you don't give up, I do believe you will be able to one day reach your goal. Your goal, because like that's just how it is, And one thing is that if you think your team is the problem, if that's come to your mind, you are probably the problem. You need to be humble about yourself, and you need to always be able to be putting the work in. Do the extra time. It's a marathon. There's people that everyone has the same objective. You just gotta put more work in than the rest of them. And well, this industry, unfortunately, is also a bit of luck and connections. So just keep grinding. And like I said, if you put your work in, they will come.
Hopefully so. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, Savage. I think it's always good to talk to the likes of you, players new to the scene, because it's good to give you the opportunity to show people who you are and what you're about. So if anyone watching hasn't already, please give Savage a follow on his Twitter at SavageR6S, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's
right.
it.
Give him a follow on his socials and show him some love. But thank you so much for coming on. It's been a real pleasure to talk to you. And As I said before, best of luck in close qualifiers. I genuinely do think the EU qualifiers are going to be really competitive, and may the best team win.
Thank you, Gibson.
Thanks. Thank
Have
you.
a good day.
You too.